I stepped down as CEO of our company for the past 2 months, and I'm gonna share with you in this video what happened and how I was able to replace myself. So right now, if you're working really hard in your business, if you're a practitioner or you're a coach online, you're doing everything yourself, and you're wondering how on earth can you get freedom back in your life, this video is going to answer that question for you. So stick with me because I'm gonna walk you through this triangle right here and how it holds the blueprint, the roadmap to you replacing or cloning yourself without AI and building a business that is no longer reliant on you being the magician or the special unicorn. So here's what happened. If you saw the last video I published, I talked about how we essentially killed all of our sales team, or not really, but we got rid of the sales process in our business for 90 days. And if you haven't seen that video, you may want to check that out after this one. We'll link it up. But in that process, what happened wasn't great. So after that experiment, which I would not recommend, but nonetheless, watch the video for context, what I did was I stepped back into the sales function. That's right, in the trenches as a sales rep, taking dozens upon dozens of calls per week. And I want to share with you in this video why I did that and the bigger picture of why I think it's really important for you to consider this roadmap if you want to start to free yourself from doing the busy work in your business. So let me give you a bit of backstory before I get into the triangle and how this is going to start to replace you. So we started noticing some big shifts in the marketplace, and we've had our coaching program, HBA, Health Business Accelerator, for about 7-8 years now, and it's been doing really, really well. But we started seeing the writing on the wall, and ads and cost to acquire a client was going through the roof, and it started to make less and less sense from a financial perspective to keep pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars per month into advertising specifically for that offer. Around the same time, a lot of our clients were asking us for support on YouTube. Now, as you know, I love YouTube. I've been doing YouTube since 2007. This channel specifically obviously is different from the first one I created, but it's specifically to help you guys with business and growing your practice and scaling your impact. And I love doing this. We have an amazing team that supports me on this. And over the past year and a half, clients have been asking, like, can you support us on the YouTube front? And I was like, well, no, we have all this other stuff we're focused on. So we had these kind of like this intersection of seeing what was happening in the marketplace, and then at the same time recognizing how important YouTube has become because it's the single most important platform for building trust. I think you understand this, like time on brand equals trust. And the more people trust you, the more likely they're to do business with you. So I started to really think through this, and I thought to myself, well, if we have the internal team capable of executing for this on our end, what if we were able to support our clients on this as well? So that's how this all came about several months ago. And we officially came to market with a 100% done for you service, which is called the YouTube Authority Engine. So it's kind of like an agency division of our business. So we still have the HBA coaching program. This is just a separate division. So relatively new offer, and we had no sales team. So guess who went back onto the calls? Right here. And so essentially what I did is I stepped down unofficially as the CEO of Healthpreneur, and I got right back into the trenches. And I'm going to share with you why I did this and why I think, at least for me, it was one of the most important things that I've done in recent memory for our business as it grows over the next couple of years. And this leads me to this triangle. So when we want to buy back our time and free ourselves up from being in the trenches all the time, the first thing that we have to recognize is that if we want someone else to do our job, right, whatever that job might be, and I want you to think about this from a couple of different perspectives: marketing, admin, sales, ops, delivery, okay? Like you can look at any of the functions in the business and you can ask yourself, where am I doing more work than I really am enjoying, or do I need to be in this role all the time? I'll give you a couple examples of this, but the first thing that we have to remember is that at the top of this pyramid, the lowest leverage is doing the work, okay? So here, I'll just put this in red. So at the very top here, we have to do the thing that we're doing. So let's say that you're a surgeon, you have to do surgery. And if you are a surgeon, if you're a dentist, if you're someone who feels that you can't delegate or kind of replace yourself in what you're doing, I think this video is gonna be very useful for you because it'll give you a different way of thinking about this. Okay, so anyways, so what I did was I went back into doing sales calls. So I went back into the doing of the thing, okay? Now I'm not saying you have to go back and like do something that you're maybe not doing anymore. But in this case, I started doing the thing again. Now, I needed to do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was a new offer. Okay, so it's untested, unproven. There are nuances to anything new. For me to put a new offer out to market, hire some salespeople and say, you go figure this out is not a good decision strategically. Okay, like I can't expect someone who doesn't know our business and our offer and our avatar to somehow figure out how to sell this thing if they have no examples from which to model. So I thought to myself, number one, let me figure this out. Let me figure out how to have these conversations. Let me understand, what am I coming up with? Like, what am I coming up against? Who is this avatar that we're speaking to? What do they want? What are the obstacles? What are the challenges? What are the things that I have to adjust in the conversation to better meet them and show the value and so forth? So I had to really figure this out myself. The second thing that I needed to think about in the back of my mind was I needed to model what good looked like. Now, am I the world's best salesperson? I don't even like using the word salesperson. Whatever, like however you want to define it. Am I the world's best at selling what it is that we do or what I do? Maybe, maybe not, right? But at the very minimum, I've been doing this for a very long time and I know how to communicate what it is that we're offering. So I'm like, if I'm going to hire someone, I want them to be able to model, have some examples from which to learn from. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to do 5 calls on a Saturday? Maybe not forever. But I'm thinking in the back of my mind, how can I create a model or an example, a library of examples that now will live forever and that all potential new hires will now get to learn from? So the way I look at this was, although I was doing one of the things that I was actually doing at the same time, and I'm going to skip to this last piece here, was I was actually doing the designing. So I'm in the work, and this is, I think, if you're in a moment of your business and your journey where you're feeling like, man, like, why am I doing this stuff? Like, it's just like, it feels very rote and it's not the best use of my time, or I don't enjoy it. That's totally fine, I get it. But what I want you to think about is, if you don't see a future in which you're going to do this, then please understand you have to design the infrastructure for other people to then step into. In that process, I know that at some point in the future, I'm not going to run all my ads, right? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It doesn't take too long and I enjoy doing it. I also spend a good amount of time teaching our clients how to run ads, so it's good to know that stuff. But here's the thing. When I'm doing the work, I'm always designing my escape. So I'm building out the SOP, the standard operating procedure, how I do the thing as I'm doing the thing. Because if you don't design the system, then you can't escape the system. But the goal is to continually fire yourself from various jobs in your business. So ultimately what happens over time is, when you're starting out, you're going to move up this ladder. Okay, so if we have down here, like if this is everything, when you're starting your business, you're doing everything in your business. Over time, you end up doing nothing, right? And this is ultimately how you go from having a job to being an investor / owner. Now, wherever you are right now, you might be somewhere in the spectrum. And the goal is to constantly fire yourself from these various roles. So I don't want to do everything. I want to get rid of this stuff. Okay, cool. Then I'm moving up the ladder and I want to get rid of this stuff. And then I keep moving up and I want to get rid of this stuff. So we're constantly looking at, do I need to do admin? Do I need to do this thing? Do I need to do charting? No? Okay, cool. But when you're doing it, be mindful of designing the system so someone else can. So I stepped down as a CEO for 2 months. I'm back in the trenches doing sales calls. By the way, it's been amazing. I've really, really enjoyed these conversations and it's just been a lot of fun. And again, for me, it's always more enjoyable when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So if you're in a moment, and I bring this up because I work with a lot of clients who, they're practitioners, they might be doing sales calls. Sometimes they're not like super pumped about it, but the reality is, you're not going to do it forever. And if you can just remember that this is going to be a season of your business, of your life, of your journey, then you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when you have that light at the end of the tunnel, it just gives you a little more juice to keep going. So if you want to move out of the doing this stuff, please consider designing it. Because the third piece, which is really the second in this case, is going to be delegate. So what we're doing here is, once we've done the stuff, the activity, the specific process in the business, we've designed what good looks like. And that can be and I'll give you the example from the sales process. So I wrote out the script. I had a couple calls with the script. I realized, there needs to be some adjustments. So I kept revising it. So from V1, version 1, update to about version 5 over the space of a couple weeks. This is all pretty much me doing this and learning in the trenches. Again, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not too cool for school to talk with prospects, right? I think it's really important to just be connected to the marketplace. And I understand that if I expect someone else to do this, I have to show example of having done it myself. That's just a belief that I have. So as I'm designing this, I know that it's going to be delegated to someone else. So I go through the calls, I see what's coming up, I see where the gaps are, where the hesitations are, where the uncertainty is, mapping out objections, doing those, seeing what lands, what doesn't. And now we have this beautiful archive or this library of here's the script, here are the objections, here's how to handle all these different situations, here's the process, here's exactly what to do when this happens. So here's the cool part. So as I'm shooting this video, we've now hired 3 new reps who are phenomenal, and we're going to continue adding more to the team because the cool part about this new offer is that it has been doing so well. The one thing I will say, and part of the reason why we have added in this YouTube Authority Engine as part of our business is we just, as I mentioned, we saw the writing on the wall with our coaching offer and how expensive it was becoming. When we started this new offer, instantaneously, the numbers were day and night different in a good way. And I've said this before, guys, ads and content are winners or losers right out of the gate. When you run an offer, when you run an ad, it typically doesn't go from like, that was terrible to this is amazing. It's literally a home run winner out of the gate. And because of that, and because of the situation that was at hand, I needed to get back into the trenches to do the work. I needed to design the system because I knew that in time, a couple months, I could then delegate the process to other people. And so now as we speak, we have a tremendous amount of momentum that's being built around this. It's a phenomenal offer. It's a phenomenal service. We're working with some tremendous clients. I'm so happy that I stepped down and made some really hard decisions to somewhat pivot what we were doing. And yes, our business did take a hit. And if you want to get the nuances and the context for that, be sure to watch the next video because I'm going to share exactly what happened to our business when we decided to get rid of sales calls for 3 months. It definitely didn't work out the way I thought. And if you want to check out that video that's coming up next, but hopefully this as a starting point has given you a bit of a roadmap or a framework through which you can start to see yourself replacing yourself. So again, whether it's, the delivery side of things or it's on the marketing or sales side of things, this same framework can be very useful. And I'll finish with one more thing called the hiring ladder, which we teach our mastery clients, which might be useful for you. So in a service-based business, there are a number of different roles that typically need to be filled. So let's say you're a person of one. So you run a clinic, you run a coaching business. If you're sub $1 million, the most important first hire is going to be admin. Because what we want to do is we want to get these lower value, and again, no offense to anyone in the admin world, there are lower value tasks, right? It's charting, it's admin work, it's spreadsheet stuff, data entry. You want to get these off of your plates. Think of it this way. Let's say that you do $1 million in business, and over the course of a year, you work 2,000 hours. Your effective hourly rate is 1 million divided by 2,000, which is what, $500 an hour? So if your effective hourly rate, so what is called this EFH, equals $500 per hour, then why would you be doing $10 to $15 per hour tasks? This is the admin side of things, okay? So this is the one thing that's like, it's the late night charting, all the nonsense. And to be honest, a lot of this stuff now can be accelerated with Manus, with Claude, ChatGPT. So that's the first one. The next thing that we want to consider, and this is probably the biggest one as a practitioner, is going to be some type of support on delivery. So delivery is the most important part of your business, right? Like a great product or service is going to be the most important component of a healthy business in the long run. However, you as the practitioner, if you are stuck in delivery, you are never going to be able to escape the doing this. So let's look at the example of a surgeon. Okay, so you're a surgeon. You do hip surgery, knee replacements. How do you hire somebody else to do that? You have 2 choices. You either keep doing everything yourself as a surgeon because unfortunately you spent 15 years in school and $500,000 in your education to basically build golden handcuffs. Like you're so good at what you do and so few people can do it that everything relies on you. And that's okay, right? Maybe your income is good, right? Maybe you're doing $500,000 a year, whatever it is in take home revenue. But as soon as you take off on a vacation for a week or two, nothing happens. You can't work with any patients, income stops, etc. So if you want to move out of delivery as a hands-on surgeon or a dentist or a physical therapist or a chiropractor, you have to start thinking like an owner, and you have to start looking at, can I now bring in other associates or other surgeons or other practitioners who can take on some of the caseload so that I'm not doing everything, right? You step in as more of the owner, the investor of the business, and now you're just taking a piece of the pie. That's going to be kind of just like a high level thinking through this. As an example, a chiropractor client of ours, great guy, super busy practice in Manhattan. He was so busy, he could barely even escape. But it was him, and that was it. And he's doing $60K a month, and he can't even step out because he has to do everything himself. So then he's thinking to himself, well, I need to hire another associate chiropractor to help take on some of the workload, but he doesn't even have time to hire that person and train them up. And this is always the catch-22, is like you have to make the time, and it might feel like you're working 1.5 jobs for a moment as you hire and onboard someone, but that person is now going to free up a tremendous amount of your time. Because if you were designing the process and then you delegate all of it or half of it to someone, what ends up happening is you get to take away a lot of the doingness here. You get to buy back your time because you're not the one in the trenches anymore. So now for me, although I was doing 20 plus sales calls a week, I don't have to do any of them anymore. Now I might just step back in if I want to at any points, but I've literally bought back my time, but I had to invest it up front to build all this out. So there's always a trade-off. But if you can think of this as an investment, right? You're designing something, an investment that's going to build for you over time. It just gives you a little bit more hope and inspiration. Beyond that, you have a couple options. I'm going to keep this simple. So I'm going to call this marketing. And I want to just be clear about this. I don't think you should delegate your messaging. I do think that you should be able to share content like this on video, but having like a marketing coordinator or a marketing manager can be helpful for them to take your information and get it out on the internet. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go too in depth around these different roles, but marketing, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying have somebody else or have ChatGPT write your emails, write your posts, create your videos. You need to be the thought leader. You need to share your voice and your opinions and your philosophy. And there are certainly ways to expedite that process, but don't expect someone else to know your intellectual property and be able to share that. You're not going to become a thought leader by having AI share your message. It's just not going to happen. So marketing could be someone running your ads. You write the ads, they push the buttons, kind of stuff like that. Now, above that is sales. So at this point, now in my case, I'm giving up sales before marketing because for me, I actually find marketing very easy. So I don't need to give this up and hire someone else. I think there's way more leverage in marketing. But the thing is, for me, if you're charging whatever you charge, let's say you charge $10,000 and you speak with 3 people, one person says yes, your effective hourly rate is $3,333. So if you compare that to your effective hourly rate on average over the past year, assuming the $1 million at 2,000 hours worked, you're making 6 times as much money than last year's average just by taking more sales calls. That's a very good use of your time, which is why for me, I had no problem getting back on the phone. Because I'm like, if I can enroll the right people at a good clip, it's a very, very good use of my time. Plus, I'm creating examples, designing the system for the future at the same time. And the final piece is going to be leadership. So when I say leadership, I'm not saying you replace yourself as a leader because you're always going to be the visionary, whether you're the founder or the CEO, that's up to you. But leadership means at some point, you'll probably, if you have a lot of salespeople on your team, you're probably going to have a director of sales. If you have a complex marketing function, you're probably going to have a director of marketing. You might have a director of client success on the delivery side. So again, whether that's an online business or you have a practice, a lot of this stuff is going to be synonymous. But leadership is usually going to be the last piece that you start to, get off the plate. And I would say, again, depending on where you are in revenue, if you're a little bit on the lower side, so let's say 1 to 3 million, a lot of times these leadership positions can be player coaches. So they might be the head honcho doing delivery and also heading up the whole function because now they're the one in the process. They're the one doing everything or a lot of it. And at the same time, they're improving the design of the whole department of the function. So as they bring people in, other CSMs, other coaches, other practitioners or associates, they are living and breathing that function. So I'm a big believer that everyone in your business should be doing stuff. I'm not a huge fan of these armchair experts. Get in the role, get in the weeds, do the stuff. Player or coach. This is not a soccer team. You can't be on the sidelines and on the field at the same time. But in business, you can. And I think part of this journey is recognizing as you up this ladder is what are the things that you love doing? If you love marketing, which is like sharing content, putting stuff out there, making offers. You don't need to delegate that. If you love sales, maybe you stay on doing sales longer than someone else. But there's no one way of building a business. And I hopefully like this video gives you a bit of context for, you know, how we've done things, why I kind of stepped down as the CEO unofficially for a few months to kind of build this puppy back up. So if you've enjoyed this, then that's awesome. What I'd recommend is if you want to check out our experiment where we just got rid of our sales team for 3 months and you want to see what happens, kind of embarrassing to be honest, but I think it's worth a watch. You can click somewhere around this video to check that one next. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you there.